while Trolls Band Together may not be setting the world on fire in terms of the box office, this homage to classic boy bands has still managed to gain tons of fans and has received plenty of praise throughout the internet for just being a fun and entertaining time. Given how much Dreamworks loves its sequels, we'd say that a Trolls 4 isn't too far behind, but what could the franchise do next? Welcome to Wicked Binge. These are some Trolls 4 ideas and theories that we love and hate. When it comes to hints about what to expect next from this franchise, we're going to first turn to a recent Dixerto interview with the director of the Trolls movies, Walt Dorn. When asked about future Trolls films, one of Dorn's very first points was that he would love to see where Branch and Poppy's relationship goes. Considering all the brief instances of marriage and proposals in this latest film, we feel it's safe to say that the next film will focus on taking Branch and Poppy's relationship to the next level. Now, of course, we don't think it will be the primary focus, as the growing romance between these two has always been more of a secondary element. Still, we wouldn't be surprised at all if the next film ended with an impromptu, glitter-filled wedding between these two, likely taking place after yet another adventure where both trolls would realize that they really do want to spend the rest of their lives together.
And I love you, Queen Poppy.
But of course, relationship development can go both ways. And for as much as the third film showed how strong Branch and Poppy are together, it could be interesting to see a significant falling out between them, similar to what briefly happened in the second film, Trolls World Tour. Sometimes seeing a couple come back together stronger than ever after nearly falling apart is even more satisfying to see than just another happily ever after ending. Given that Branch and Poppy truly are the heart of the Trolls franchise for many fans, we have to say that we really like this idea. We've only brought up 2 ways for this secondary plotline to go in a sequel, but there are several other ways Dorn and his team could go about expanding on this relationship, and any one of them could turn out to be pretty interesting and enjoyable, depending on the execution. As for possible main plots, we have to touch on the fact that this latest film didn't really utilize much of the snack pack outside of Tiny Diamond, choosing to instead focus on new characters like Brozone and Poppy's lost sister, Viva. So after giving the original cast a break, we could see Dreamworks not only focusing on the OG Trolls friend group once again, but also choosing to make the next film's main story more of a personal one. There are only so many times you can do a road trip after all.
Road trip!
And Trolls has managed to do 2 in a row. They're a fun time, don't get us wrong, but it could be interesting to see how Poppy uses these past experiences and lessons in her day-to-day life as queen. How does she deal with new trolls like her sister and her Putt-Putt tribe moving in? How does she deal with the Pop Kingdom's new allies? How do her and her friends handle the changing culture within their kingdom? And is there any at-home conflict to deal with? Even at an admittedly smaller scale, there's much to be explored on a more personal level for the characters that the franchise's fans have known since the beginning. This especially goes for characters like Cooper or Biggie, who had bits of development in the second film but then mostly disappeared for the third. Ultimately, this idea would depend on its execution and would likely take some extra thought and effort to make it as exciting as the other Trolls sequels. Because of this, we overall have mixed feelings on this idea. Trolls is the type of franchise that tends to just go bigger and bigger with each installment. So unless they decide to go with a full-on Pop Kingdom Civil War plot, it may be hard to make a smaller scale and primarily character-focused story feel theater-worthy if there aren't any new settings or huge action set pieces to explore. But hey, maybe it'll make for a good special, as the Trolls series has plenty of experience making those too. And hey, if you're a Trolls fan who loves when the franchise explores creative new species, cultures, and settings within its world, you don't have much to worry about. Going back to the Dixerto interview, Dorn stated that, "We have tons of worlds you haven't even seen before that we're excited to build. So there's always the chance that the next Trolls film could involve yet another road trip. And as you could probably guess, this is another idea we're somewhat mixed on. On the one hand, Trolls Band Together had some of the coolest places and new species yet, from Muppets and an ocean made out of those squishy pearl things to Mount Rageous and its rubber hose era doll-like teens. We certainly believe Dorn when he says that there's plenty of other worlds and creatures in the Trolls universe. But while we wouldn't necessarily mind seeing all those worlds eventually, again, there's only so many times you can do a road trip plot. Additionally, given all the new characters, concepts, troll tribes, and other world-building elements that were introduced in the sequels, it just seems like it'd be a shame and a pretty huge waste to just push those all aside and never explore or do anything with them again. Why not visit places like the country or techno or rock tribes again, now that all the tribes have been reunited and are at peace? Why not use Viva's return as a way to explore things using her newly introduced perspective. Why not just take some time to have your new characters interact with each other for a bit, instead of just introducing more and more new ones? We'll acknowledge that it's possible to have both quantity and quality, but that's still a pretty hard balance for any franchise to keep, especially one as wild as this one can be. Though speaking of returning characters, we have to give a nod towards the fact that many fans want Brozone to return in an upcoming Trolls sequel. It's no surprise that fans have completely fallen in love with this troll-tastic boy band, enjoying them more than even other fan-favorite characters like Queen Barb and Bridget. Not that we can blame them, as not only were Branch's brothers pretty fun, but also incredibly endearing. But while we wouldn't be opposed to seeing them return in a TV special or as a small cameo, we can't say that we would want them to play a major role in a sequel. Outside of maybe Floyd, all of the other Brozone members have already had their arcs. Even if you were to introduce a sort of battle of the boy bands plot, it almost feels like it would inevitably lead to a retread of the group's overall arc in Band Together, with them needing to learn how to work together and ultimately choose having fun over being perfect. There's no story reason we could think of to bring them back, so we unfortunately have to say that we don't really like the idea of Brozone playing a major role in any sort of Trolls sequel. But hey, nothing wrong with them maybe having a minor subplot, or, as we said, a cameo of sorts, as we definitely wouldn't want to see them disappear completely. But while Branch's extended family has been explored pretty thoroughly, it's safe to say that there's still some room to explore Poppy and her family. Namely, a sequel could explore what happened to her and Viva's mother, as no one, not even King Peppy, has ever mentioned her. Considering Peppy's tendency to keep secrets from his daughter, it wouldn't be too unexpected if he had one more secret up his sleeve.
Forget what you saw!
Sure, maybe it would be a bit of a retread, considering it would be yet another long-lost family member, but depending on the type of character they had in mind for Poppy's mother and the adventure and discoveries that they could intertwine with her, it could make for both an interesting and emotional journey for Poppy. But even if it turns out Poppy's mother is long gone, as we said with our earlier ideas, we still feel there's much that can be explored with her long-lost sister Viva, and her reintroduction into the Pop Kingdom. After all, Viva is the oldest, which meant that she would have been queen if not for getting separated from the others during the Bergen attack. So could we end up seeing a bit of drama between the sisters over a fight for the crown? Even if it doesn't go that far, it could still be neat to see the next film's journey focus on the two sisters and any potential clashes between them, either because of their significant differences or because of their many similarities. Really, we just feel like it's only fair that Poppy gets a family-focused movie next after supporting Branch through his, and as such, we have to say that we like this idea. Our final idea takes us back to the Pop Kingdom and its alliance with the Bergens, with the latest film establishing just how far the two groups have come in their friendship with one another. What better way to test this alliance than putting both the Trolls and the Bergens up against the franchise's biggest threat yet? What this threat could be, we aren't sure. Maybe something that's both physically strong but also musically talented, or perhaps something with its own unique form of magic. A plot like this would still likely involve some traveling and exploring if this new threat happened to be a decent ways away, but it would also be a good avenue to develop the franchise's original characters and strengthen their bonds with one another. From the snack pack getting to finally go on another adventure together, to Gristle Jr. and Bridget getting to be a power couple yet again, to Poppy and Bridget putting their BFF relationship to the test as they fight for their kingdoms together. This sort of plot could also make for some fun conflict in general, as while the Trolls and Bergens may get along a lot better now, they're still pretty different, and it could be interesting to see how they both react to the same threat and the different ways they go about trying to fight or handle it, with it almost seeming like the best of both worlds when it comes to providing both fun new concepts and good character focus and development. It's safe to say that we really like this idea. It's hard to say what the future of the Trolls franchise will entail, but if the future sequels or specials end up being anything like the ideas and theories we've presented today, we'll admit that we're pretty excited to see what comes next.
Boom. And that was that. Pretty cute, right?